day for the Eagles fans, and also a not so great day at the same time. The great part, Eagles with the win, they clinched the division, so they are pretty decent in that. So you get a bell for that.
True.
Bell, we might get another bell for that.
Be in the playoffs, baby.
They're in the playoffs. They won the division, and 3 more games to play, and I believe 3 winnable games, even with Nick Foles. I believe they're 3 winnable games because they got the Giants coming up next. And we all know what the Giants are. The Raiders are just a mess right now. And then you got the Cowboys, who will probably be playing for their dear lives in Week 17. And again, like we said way back when, hopefully the Eagles would get to this point where this game would not mean much to them, and they did get to that point. They did. So, you know, at the end of the season, that last game might not mean much to them. And the Rams, on the other hand, before we continue with the Eagles, the Rams, on the other hand, have a tough game. They've still got to play Seattle. And they can't afford to lose to Seattle. Because although they're in first place in the division, they have a game on Seattle. Seattle would own the tiebreaker with the win. Right. I think they play them next week. They play them Sunday. So with the win on Sunday, the Seattle will win the tiebreaker. And excuse me, like we said, it always happens like this. I kind of like to call the Seahawks the San Antonio Spurs of the NFL.
Yeah, they just find ways.
They just find ways. Like it seems like during the season they're just going through the motions. But when it comes time, they just find ways to win games and get into the position that they need to get into. So, with that being said, we're going to get to the moment of yesterday. Yeah, flag on the play, timeout. You can do whatever you want. And I know the city is in an uproar in more ways than one. They're in the up 4 and they're in the downward spiral all at the same time. So it's kind of, what's that, like a tornado or something?
Yeah.
So they're like stuck in the middle of that tornado right now. And one of the things that I'm okay with, and people probably say to me, I'm crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just trying to be positive. Well, yes, I am trying to be positive. But like we just talked real quickly before we came on air, but they're playing with Nick Foles. And a lot of people right now are like, oh, we got Nick Foles, the season is over, it's done, it's whatever. Okay, here's the thing, people, and I want you to take this for what it's worth. And I'm just being real right now, going on what I've known and what I've seen in the past few years. Nick Foles was here. Like I mentioned, he had a Pro Bowl year here. You know, and I admit, even though that season was somewhat bloated, you know, a little exaggerated, nonetheless, it was a Pro Bowl season for him. He had a great year that year. And I also mentioned real quickly that the team that he had when he had this run with the Eagles was like 13 wins or something he had.
Right.
The offensive skill positions, the overall defense, I think right now is better than what he had when he had those good games.
True. I think the offensive line is better as well. I think that the questions, like for Eagles fans, the question is, can he get it done? Is he capable of getting it done? And like we just were talking about, you know, off air, you know, when you look at the schedule, and let's just, I mean, the worst case scenario, Carson Wentz has a torn ACL.
Right.
That's the worst case scenario. And they say he may be out for the remainder of the season. Okay. Wordplay. The remainder of what season?
Right.
The regular season. Because like we said about technology, there's a strong possibility. This is week 13. You know, you go into possible having 5 weeks. So let's just say he finds out this is what it is. He gets the surgery on Wednesday.
Right.
You now have a good 4 or 5 weeks. Because the surgery only takes about an hour and a half.
That's all. Yeah, it's real
So
fast.
he'll have about a month and some change to get healthy. He's not Michael Vick. He's not a scrambler.
No, he's not.
So you're looking at possibly a return in the playoffs or the week after.
Right.
Pending Nick Foles wins a playoff game.
Even if you say that still might be their first game of the playoffs.
And
because they're looking at a bye right now.
They're looking at a bye. So
and that helps.
There's a strong possibility that if that was the case, the worst case scenario, he could be back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I had posted something, on Facebook yesterday. Of course, all my homies that diehard Eagle fans that, a lot of times they get a little delusional. Just like how Frank is with the 49ers.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Frank. I know you're listening. But, these dudes was like, oh, you a hater. And I said, no, listen to me. You can't argue with me if I say it just seems like every time the Eagles have something good going on, something bad happens.
Something bad happens.
I said it seems like a curse.
Yeah.
So now I put up a picture of Vince Lombardi. So the irony is, the year before they merged the AFL and NFL, the last NFL championship, the Eagles won. And that year, that loss went to Vince Lombardi. That was his only loss. It's amazing that they merged, call it a Super Bowl, then turn it into the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Things that make you say.
And the Eagles have not touched a Vince Lombardi Trophy.
Not since then.
There's irony.
You talking about irony?
I mean, we sports people.
Yeah, you talking about like that. The curse of the Bambino.
Right, and when you play sports, everybody knows if you play sports, there's superstitions involved.
Absolutely.
You wear your socks a certain way.
Absolutely.
You wash your hands, or whatever your routine
shirt under your jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I brought it up, and they're like, "Here come the hater. He ain't even said nothing on it." Well, guess what? Had you been listening to this show all year, you would have known that there's been nothing but praise towards what the Eagles was doing all year.
Back that up.
So for those of you, I'm gonna say your name: Michael Johnson, Aaron Hunt, LaValle Younger.
Wow.
I'm gonna pull y'all names out.
Because he calling out names.
I'm gonna pull y'all now. I told y'all I was gonna get at y'all today. Derek Galmore.
267 368 5328.
Yeah.
Again, 267 368 5328. We are here. We are here till 1 o'clock.
We ain't going nowhere.
So you got plenty of time to get your thoughts together, get your arguments together, and call us up and talk to us.
Yeah, you better write it down. When you call up here, you better call with some sense. And you better make sense. Because y'all have texted me and said all types of stuff. And I told you, had you been listening to this show, no other show, because I'm on no other show but this one.
Absolutely.
Had you been listening to Heat 100 Sports Rap with my man Dwayne, with his beautiful wife Hope, myself, James Clark. Listen, man, we've been talking about this
all the time. The whole season.
We've been talking about it the whole season. And at no point in time this season, now if you want to bring up the past, I've grinded y'all up in the past. But this year, it was all about, in the beginning, well, hey, y'all got a tough schedule. Okay, y'all lost to Kansas City. That was one of the tougher games. All right, you went on to win. You went on to win. Now, in the very beginning of the season, you look at that schedule and you say, man, it's going to be some tough stuff. Well, then things happen. People get hurt. Whatever. Y'all stay healthy. Y'all got better. Y'all beat teams. Y'all begin to mock teams. You played from behind, you beat teams. So if you're going to think, I'm going to sit here and argue with you and my team is 3 and whatever, and I'm going to argue with you about your team, I'll be a fool. Your team is hot. My team is not.